When making attempts to achieve national acclaim to your music or your movies, one is inadvertently also signing up to public reception whether they like it or not. Of course, because they're in a job in the pop culture sphere, especially if they're the face of said brand. They're going to be heavily dissected then, and even if their love is just the art and nothing else. So let's go over some tarnished examples. What happens when one contradicts themselves and backtracks against one of the things that made them so successful in the first place? Ariana Grande, not a girl's girl. Ariana Grande and Ethan Slater both first graced each other's presence on the set of Wicked whilst they were both in long-term relationships at the time. They reportedly developed a quick, close bond and were allegedly attending double dates with their respective partners. Ariana Grande apparently was even as directive to hold Ethan Slater's child. There were varying dates as to when Ariana Grande and Ethan Slater both broke off their marriages to begin a relationship together, initially with the dates actually overlapping, causing fans to outburst with hatred and grab their pitchforks and spread madness online. Then Lily J, Ethan Slater's ex-wife, disapproval, quoting Ariana Grande as not a girl's girl, only fueled an even bigger fire. Both Ariana and Ethan were extremely silent during this time, with first voicing zero response, and when she first did respond, it was on her album Eternal Sunshine months following. And then her first actual sentence / quote was in an interview with Vanity Fair over a year later, just simply saying that it's disappointing to see so many people believe the first version of it. Now, they both clarify that they didn't pursue a romantic connection until after leaving their partners, and they were varying beliefs online, and as their divorce wasn't settled until months following, and Instagram posts of their partners also leave contradicting points. The reason this tarnished Ariana's public persona so vastly was due to many points, such as her history alongside interrupting men in relationships. Also, her swaying physical look from pale skin and dark curly hair to a bronzed complexion with a tight ombre ponytail, and then now pale skin with blonde hair, and fans just not knowing who the real Ariana is considering her musical influences switching alongside her voice. And what leaves the public so angry is her persona switching with the men she dates as well, and her also just seemingly unbothered attitude towards the interrupting men in relationships, and people just are being turned off by this since they don't really know who Ariana is anymore. But also, that could be said that many fans do just accept the fact that she's changing as every human does, and they love Ariana just for who she is and who she does become. But I think it definitely is up to the person to decide their own. Old Hollywood examples. William Haynes and Rock Hudson. I'm going to be talking about both of these just together since they kind of have the same story that I'm going to go over. But they were both kind of the it guy of Hollywood, with many women swooning over them and them being the quote-unquote perfect male figure at the time that every woman wanted and searched and longed for. They were this heavily romanticized and beautified, glorified figure on the screen, and they kind of knew exactly how to act because they were also attracted to men, and so that played in their favor into playing up this very seductive male figure on the screen. But once they were both outed as being a homosexual, or at least rumored to be, due to their public life interfering with their work life, they neglected the studio and refused to say that they weren't homosexual because they just didn't want to lie. And because of the tabloids and newspapers all stating this rumor going around, it completely tarnished their image, with the women being extremely disappointed and it ruining this image that they had of the men in their heads. And they were eventually dropped from the studio and pursued personal lives following. Katy Perry, Woman's World. Katy Perry's first musical album endeavor in 4 years, introducing her first time in this new era of quick TikTok hits, many fans were curious to see what she has to offer. They were initially excited with seeing how she would take on this new era, or whether she would bring back the 2010 nostalgia or adapt to this new atmosphere that we're in. And initially, there was great public reception to the very first Twitter snippet, But that all shifted when she posted to Instagram and TikTok with a new snippet where the world turned on her for the worse, stating it as a terrible song, sounding something of AI, and it felt inauthentic, and even worse considering that the song is meant to be a powerhouse anthem for women, considering that she chose none other than Dr. Luke as the producer, who has been accused of sexual, verbal, physical, and emotional abuse of women in particular. He was also in an almost decade-long legal battle with the pop star Kesha. Now, Dr. Luke has collaborated with a long list of famous singers such as Doja Cat, Miley Cyrus, Rihanna, Kim Petras, and the list goes on. But in this new time, with this supposed empowering song, it felt more belittling than anything, and this producer did more the opposite and went against women that were meant to listen to the song. Charlie XCX, Brat is not fast fashion. When Charlie XCX released her album Brat, it was loved by the masses, especially for its defining fashion pieces being the clothes that you already own. But when Charlie collabed with H&M on a collection surrounding Brat as a brand, it was entirely a 180 of what she'd stated before, choosing among the worst brands on the environment and choosing among the worst silhouettes also on the environment. And not only that, but with the prices completely out of the masses' affordability. Almost everything was just the worst that you could possibly think of, and it was unfortunate considering the blueprint that they had to follow with Brat. And fans voiced a wish at her to just have stopped at the Dress to Impress collaboration, which felt perfect considering its technology, so it's good on the environment, and its pixels, and it just seemed to be perfect for the Brat brand and the impact that it had as well. Ashley Simpson. Ashley Simpson being the younger sister of Jessica Simpson, who was a pop star prior to Ashley's debut, but the public knew her to be more simple and down-to-earth, not exactly a super extreme vocalist. So when her more rocker-style younger sister, Ashley, came to the scene and lit up the pop culture presence with her single, Pieces of Me, she was quoted as finally a talented star. But when she went to perform on SNL, it was a disaster, since she was caught lip-syncing as the wrong vocal track played too early, and her little playoff didn't go over too well either. They immediately cut to commercial where she was the public laughing stock, and when they returned, she was seen blaming the band for playing the wrong song. Not at all a good excuse, and she was ridiculed even harder. But this didn't stop Ashley's team for scheduling her a redemption on the Orange Bowl whilst filming her reality series. Ashley reportedly could not hear her in-ears due to a loud crowd, among other technical difficulties. She was singing none other than her hit single La La, which is also extremely loud and difficult song to perform, which caused her vocals to be not so stellar. It left the entire crowd booing at her, but this was not stated whatsoever in her reality series. Fast forward many years, Ashley voices content and acceptance, but is also critical of herself for, yes, lip-syncing, and yes, not giving great vocals, but also states empathy for how quickly she was thrust into the spotlight and have the guts to perform such massive shows under the technical difficulties that there were, considering she was actually sick with no voice during the initial SNL performance. Taylor Swift dating Matty Healy. Taylor Swift had ties to Matty Healy briefly in 2023, causing a massive and quick outburst among fans who had a problem with him due to his constant racist comments and also kissing of mostly young female but also young male fans. Taylor Swift was quick to catch this and immediately broke ties to him, considering it would definitely taunt her clean image. Sabrina Carpenter, lessons from a pop star. Sabrina Carpenter not voicing any hatred during Olivia's rise to fame. Although Olivia voiced her own expression and emotions on Sabrina Carpenter and the Joshua Bassett situation with her hit songs, when it came to time for Sabrina to voice her return, she not once stated hatred or disrespect in her lyrics, just voicing her own perspective right back, causing many fans to praise her response. Mariah Carey's I Don't Know Her. When Mariah Carey's ex signed Jennifer Lopez as direct competition to Mariah, even going as far to give songs that were written for Mariah to J-Lo, and hiring women to sing for Jennifer Lopez, Mariah's sly reply was in her movie Glitter, which was an unfortunate flop, but showed her portraying a woman's vocals being stolen, and then nothing but a sly, I don't know her, to press. Initially being labeled as a stuck-up diva, but with new news being surfaced and many people sharing stories of their bad encounters with J-Lo, has fans praising Mariah for her gracefulness and her class. Paris Hilton staying famous. Paris Hilton has been famous for over 20 years, playing a dumb but also being admirable and an inspiration. Therefore, she still had on a pedestal, but not huge expectations kind of way. And she's turned around to say that she's actually not that dumb persona, and is a businesswoman with many talents, and she's never really in any drama anymore, and she's just voicing positivity and spreading love, and staying in her own lane, giving fans what they want. She's very open, but not too open in a bad parasocial way, which I think is kind of the best way to be. Main takeaways. So, is this what makes or breaks your reputation? Yes and no. I think that is pretty heavy on the lane that you're in and generally maintaining that connection between your fans, but there's no right or wrong way to 100% appeal to your audience. Some will love you and some will hate on you regardless. So it's all in what you're trying to maintain, what you're trying to do. Are you trying to appeal to the masses, or are you trying to sway away and create your own audience that will support you regardless? I think that Doja Cat's a good example of the latter. So, can bad press also be good press in cementing a pop icon? Yes. I think that with some artists, like again Ariana Grande, you'll notice that with big artists, they come into the pop culture sphere and they have this huge success with most people praising them and liking their art, but then after a little while, everyone just gets on this hate train, pulls out their pitchforks, and hates on the artists. And I think that a good example is with Ariana Grande, where she blew up so massively and was compared to the likes of Whitney Houston, Mariah Carey, and she then had this huge hate train after she licked a donut. Something very small that people like to laugh about now, but seems so massive at the moment as it stood for an even bigger message. But that controversy really did cement her as an artist and made her who she is today. Another good example can be someone like Miley Cyrus, who was a child star that had mostly the whole public on her side. Of course, she had little controversies around the way, but I think that the biggest one that cemented her was definitely the Wrecking Ball controversy that completely swayed away from her image, which you would think would maybe tarnish her image and public perception, but it broke her into a new lane. And I think that that cemented her as an artist and let her become who she is today. Now, that is all that I have for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, I want to say again, I already know I made a community post, but I just hit 1,000 subscribers, and it's all happened just so fast. I'm honestly so baffled, and it's crazy to see and think about even. I'm very grateful, and I really hope that you guys can appreciate all the content that I do put out. I really just want people to see potential in my videos. Otherwise, I will be actually creating another channel, which I have created like years ago, but I just haven't uploaded since, and I plan on doing it eventually. It's called Rocco. And yeah, other than that, I do make music as well. My song, Apparatus, will be out December 5th, and you are listening to it now. I'm rambling, but make sure to check that out, and check out all my music, Xyram, on all platforms, and I'll see you all next time. Goodbye. Heart in a spin